So welcome everybody to Mind Body Healing Through the Arts. Tonight is our special presentation on dance movement therapy with some leaders in the field, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you. How many of you are here maybe for the first time here at the new school? Oh, wonderful. Welcome so much. How many of you are actually dance therapists? Wow, wonderful. How many of you are other creative arts therapists? Hi, I recognize a lot of you. So happy to see you. How many of you are new to the field of creative arts therapy? Oh, right, far out. Okay, so you're in for a big treat because every week you're going to have an experience of creative arts therapist from some of the hottest leaders in the field, and you'll get to ask questions, you'll get to pick our brains as to what is creative arts therapy, who do we work with, where do we go, how much money do we make, how long does it take to get trained, where's the field headed. And it's a very exciting time for us as the field really is opening up in ways that are actually, for me, mind-blowing, just to see the kind of research that we're doing, the kind of reach that we have, working in Dubai, working in New Zealand, working in places that have already had indigenous healing traditions with the arts. But now we're bringing more of a research and clinical spin into these different places. So without further ado, I am very happy to introduce our special guests tonight, starting with Meg Chang, Dr. Meg Chang, who is a dance movement therapist, and she's actually been a professor here at the New School for several years until she deserted us recently and moved to the West Coast. But that's okay, we've forgiven her, and they need this kind of work as well. And Dr. Chang is actually a specialist in intercultural dance therapy. Her doctoral work is looking at how different cultures use dance and movement for their own expression and development. And now she is teaching at CIIS in California, dance movement therapy, and I don't know what else you're doing, probably other fascinating things. And it's all she's doing. It's a lot of work. And Meg is also going to introduce her co-leader tonight. And welcome very much. Mara, I forgot your last name. Rivera. Mara Rivera. And so Meg, if you can tell us about Mara.
Thank you, Louise. So it's wonderful to be at the New School, always. I love the New School. Actually, I love the New School students, I have to confess. They're my favorite students of all. So let's see. Mara Rivera and I met when Mara gave a performance of her thesis, which was actually about the work that we're going to all be experiencing tonight. And Mara was a student at Pratt, and a dance therapy student at Pratt, and I met her then, and we started talking about how this whole field, in a way, is very much based on Western notions of dance and dance movement therapy, and what it might look like if we took into account the way dance is within a cultural and social context. So Mara and I we've been talking and collaborating and figuring out ways to teach together for several years, mostly here. And when Louise was kind enough to invite me to come and be here again, I thought it'd be perfect to bring in Mara, because that way we could really go from the kind of traditional background of dance movement therapy into what's really becoming, I think, the cutting edge of the field, which is really how do we work with groups and cultures that are not necessarily the ones of the therapist. And really, how do we recognize everybody who's in the room? So I'm going to talk a little bit first. We worked out most of the details except who was going to talk. Isn't that interesting? So I'm going to talk a little bit first and give an introduction, and then Mara will talk. And then we're going to move into the back where we have more room to dance and move. So thanks, everybody, for coming tonight. And we're going to talk a bit first. We'll have just a couple minutes for questions, and then we'll start moving, and then we'll have questions at the end, if that's okay with everybody. Okay, good. Okay, so the title for this presentation was from this amazing poet named Jack Gilbert, who, I don't know if you know Jack Gilbert, he's actually from Pittsburgh. But he wrote this poem, and there are a couple of lines in it that just really stood out and just kept coming back to me. And so this is the poet Ovid, who is famous for many things, including the saying, "Tears at times have the weight of speech." And this particular poem is called Ovid in Tears. "Love is like a garden in the heart," he said. They asked him what he meant by garden. He explained about gardens. "In the cities," he said, "there are places walled off where color and decorum are magnified into a civilization, like a beautiful woman," he said. "How like a woman?" they asked. He remembered their wives and said garden was just a figure of speech, then called for drinks all around. 2 rounds later, he was crying, talking about how Charlemagne couldn't read but still made a world, about Hagia Sophia and putting a round dome on a square base after 900 years of failure. The hand holding him slipped and he fell. "White stone in the white sunlight," he said as they picked him up, "not the great fires built on the edge of the world." His voice grew fainter as they carried him away. Both the melody and the symphony, the imperfect dancing in the beautiful dance, the dance most of all. So this line about the dance most of all was really what has stayed with me, because since I've been exiled in California, no, really, since I've been in California, one of the things that's really interesting there is that because of some licensure things that happened in the 70s and 80s, when I would talk about dance movement therapy in California, people would sort of giggle, or they wouldn't know what dance movement therapy was. And I found this very strange coming from New York City, and particularly from this culture where people really know how dance is used as a psychotherapy. And I realized that that had a lot to do with the fact that California has a very, very active dance culture in which people call many things healing in dance. And this goes all the way from the kinds of things like dance raves, like I heard yesterday, that I heard over the weekend from somebody that there had been this gathering in Northern California of 450 people, and all they did for 3 or 4 days was dance, with other things involved, of course, but there is this huge interest in dance and the idea of dance as healing. And that in some way keeps coming back, so that dance as this basic form of wholeness keeps reasserting itself even when there's not a field like dance movement therapy to help channel it or contain it, or to, in a sense, really bring together all the elements of mind and body and spirit. So as I was thinking about this, I really began to wonder, what is it both about dance movement therapy that's so ubiquitous? It keeps coming back again and again. And how is it that we look at the way that dance keeps being recreated as a healing form? So that was really the sort of jumping off point for the work that we'd like to do tonight. So I'm thinking that in terms of the sense of dance therapy, as the American Dance Therapy Association uses it, which is the idea that dance is used as a psychotherapeutic factor in integrating mind, body, and spirit, we then, as we begin to do our work, we need to include the wider social context. So we're really looking at how this specific form, which is the form that's taught here at the New School of Dance Movement Therapy, how is that in some way something that can be used? What are the factors? What are the healing factors in this thing that we call dance movement therapy? And what is it specifically that makes it healing? So if we have a tradition which comes out of the Western modern dance tradition of using dance in this particular way, which I'm going to do some demonstration of as we are moving, then how might that look when we go and work in other kinds of settings? How does it look, in fact, for people who may not come out of that Western traditional modern dance background? And what are some of the ways that dance speaks to people from all different cultures and in different ways, which is very much what my dissertation research was about. And so what we're going to try and do tonight is actually tease that out a little bit. So what is it that's specific to you as an individual, and what is it that might be more cultural or more social or more of a group kind of process? And what purpose does it serve for those of us who are practicing dance therapy, and how we are defining it in this very specific way? Is there a particular form that fits for us, and is there a particular form that fits for other people, the people that we work with? And I'm thinking, too, of the way that there's this continuum from somatic work. I saw as I was coming in, there was a flyer by Juliet Mapp downstairs, which is called Moving with Somatics Part 2. So Juliet Mapp actually worked with one of my teachers, Elaine Summers, and is doing this whole somatic practice. So in dance, of course, we start with the body. And one of the contributions to dance education is somatics, which is really how we experience our bodies from the inside out. And this tradition of somatics has carried over into somatic psychology, and then also into dance movement therapy. So there's this whole way that we're sensorially aware. I mean, just now as we're sitting here and you're aware of me talking, but you're also aware of yourself in the chair, and you can bring your attention to your feet wherever they are right now. And that ability is a somatic perception. That ability to switch attention from listening into sensing is really one of the things which informs both dance education in its best sense of somatic dance education, but also dance movement therapy. And one of the things that we're not going to have as much chance to do tonight, unfortunately, which is another presentation, is to really look at individual depth dance movement therapy. So what we're going to be doing tonight, Mara and I, is really very much within the group and social context. But there are practitioners of dance movement therapy who do work more individually and work more at the individual depth level. And I'm thinking of people like one of my teachers, Blanche Evan, who worked exclusively with individuals. And B, you worked, I think, also with Blanche. So she really concentrated on dance as an individual psychotherapy. Or my friend and colleague, Jack Weiner, who is a psychoanalyst and also a dance therapist, who works at the individual level. So there's one way in which dance therapy is a ego psychology form based very much in psychodynamic psychotherapy, which develops into more of an individual psychotherapy. And then the way we're going to be working tonight, we're looking at the individual within their social context. So it's a slightly different approach. They're two slightly different approaches to the whole of dance movement therapy. So when I started thinking about this work, I realized that one of the things that Mara and I had been talking about pretty consistently over several years is really how she has used bomba as a form of healing dance, and how that's something which has informed her practice in the different places where she's working, both in her own private practice, but also as she's working in inpatient psychiatry, which is where a lot of dance therapy is practiced. And so we're really looking at how can we take both the individual piece, put it into a social and cultural context, and then include the group. So tonight we'll be doing, Mara's gonna talk a little bit about bomba, and then we're actually gonna have a chance to experience some of this, so that we'll have a chance to move a bit, and then you'll have a chance to tell us what your experience of this is. So let me ask, are there people here who currently use any form of dance as healing? And it's just self-identified. Couple tentative hands go up. It's okay, it's safe to say, I do, I dance, yes. Any people here who are using bomba as a form of dance healing? Or even just bombas? All right. So we'll have a chance then to see, for those of you who are using one of this range of what I think of as dances that are considered therapeutic. So all the way from Gabrielle Roth, 5 rhythms, continuum work, dance movement therapy itself, creative dance. What are some others? Authentic movement, yes, very big authentic movement community. Anything else that, other dance forms I'm? Yes, yes, and actually, I think there probably are some pretty active folk dance groups still here in New York. But what I am thinking of is these, in California, there's this huge movement towards using 5 rhythms as very much as a healing practice. Even though people who are not trained as dance movement therapists, they're still calling it a healing practice. Or authentic movement is another good example, where people can be trained at the lay level by doing it, but they're not necessarily aware of all the different aspects of it. So what we wanted to do is really explore how bomba is one of these group traditions, and to see, for you, how it speaks to you, and also what it's like for us all to move together. So we're going to do a series of different kinds of dance experientials. We'll do some, in a minute we'll do a little bit of somatic practice, and then we'll do what's the more traditional form of dance movement therapy, which is a group form that uses recorded music called the Marion Chase method. And so I just have to say something about words and language. When I was in Korea doing my dissertation, I would talk to the students there about Marion Chase. And so they were really good students. And then we would do the movement improvisation. And all of a sudden, all these students would be playing like a game like Crack the Whip, like running around and sort of running madly around the room and holding hands and sort of like a children's game. And so then finally they said to me, "Oh, chase, it's the chase dance." It's like, okay, because Marion Chase's name is spelled Chace. It's her name, and so in this way, it was a perfect example to me how our ideas about culture don't transfer, actually. When I finally, like about 2 months into training these students, I realized that they were doing the chase dance. So we'll do a little bit of that. We'll do, hopefully the drummer will show up. We'll do some drumming and moving, and then we'll have a chance for some talking, and then we'll end with movement. Okay? So that's our plan. Mara.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Mara Rivera. I am a native of Puerto Rico. That's where I was born, and then I came when I was 17. Well, first of all, I'm super excited to be here. I see some of people I work, mentors, teachers. So I'm still young in the field, but I'm going to stop saying that because I think that I need to start recognizing that I know some stuff, right? So I am very happy that I am in a place in dance movement therapy that I can actually do this work and that there is space for it. And I think from many of my talks with people that are older than me, older, right, that there wasn't the space for this kind of talk, right? And last night I was in a talk about a women's drummer, and it was wonderful to see how things have changed for new folks in this era. And I'm very excited, and I'm also excited that I learned the traditional chasing style dance movement therapy, and that I'm also a bombera, which is what we're going to be experiencing tonight. Bomba from Puerto Rico is the maximum expression of African heritage in the island, right? And it comes from West African influences, and also Central African influences, as well as inter-Caribbean influences. Guadalupe, Martinique, Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, like, so that's sort of like it has this African-based origins, but it also have like creolization process also in the Caribbean. So, bomba. Anybody have heard of bomba? Para bailar la bamba. It's not that, but but it has kind of the essence of it. But so bomba. Well, first of all, I want to say that I started bomba in New York, actually, not in Puerto Rico. That's when I started learning it. And the reason why I say that is because as the diaspora, the Puerto Rican diaspora, the African diaspora, Asian diaspora, all those cultural groups that came, there's this need for affirmation, and there's this need to self-identify and to affirm an identity or resist oppression. So bomba has been excellent in allowing folks here that are far away from home to have a place, to fit in a society that, we all know that historically have oppressed or discriminate against the people that are from the non-dominant groups. So bomba is a drum dance, and people use it. It comes from West Africa and Congo, as I said, Central Africa. And when it came through the slave trade, so it was brought up by the slaves, right? And then it was passed down from generation to generation, and from the descendants of the slaves and also free Africans. And it was creolicized in the island. And people gather as a community, they sing, they dance, they drum, they invoke ancestors, they invoke spirits, although bomba specifically doesn't have a religious, a known or evident religious background or a specific religion, but everybody that dances knows that, I think, maybe this is an assumption, that is very much related to spirit, whatever that definition might be for each one of us. So, so what we are doing tonight is actually, I would like for you guys to experience some of these few elements that that exist in bomba, that also exist in other African-based dances, which is going to be, right, we're gonna create a structure. There is the formation, the structure. There is going to be a drum. Hopefully, there come. And if not, we have music. But we also gonna try to do a little bit of improvisation and call and response. So there is sort of like a collective kind of unison, collective pulse kind of thing, like I like to call it. And yeah, and I love this work because it's an ongoing research of mine and Meg. That's one of the things that brought us together. So we would like for you guys to really let us know how, when you experience both, kind of more Western style, traditional dance therapy, and when you experience the more in the cultural context, what comes up for you? So we're really, really curious to know and to explore together. That's it. for me. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Janet Jackson, though. You hear me? Yes? Well, I don't need it now.
Okay, so I'm going to start. And I realized as you were talking, Mara, that I made a huge assumption, which because I've been doing this for such a long time, I made this huge assumption that people are willing to move. Because one of the things I learned when I went to teach in the somatic psychology program at California Institute of Integral Studies is that some people there are phobic about moving. I mean, who knew? I assumed, you know, these people were kinesthetic and they'd be like, oh no. So if we also have drawing materials, so if you'd rather visually represent, if you're more comfortable with that, that's fine. If you want to accompany and clap along, that's fine too. But it would be good if you can sort of be participating, I guess, except for Chris back there, who was participating in a different way. So. And the people at registration who are participating in their own way. You don't have to, but you're welcome to join us. So. Okay, so I'm going to start with what I think of as in a way where dance therapy came from, which has to do in some ways with way back in Germany in the 20s and 30s, that whole physical culture movement, even before then, with people who were bodybuilding. There was this whole awareness suddenly about the body. And that has since transmuted in many different ways into what are some of the basic somatic practices that I would have to say I think in dance therapy is pretty much across the board that we all use breathing and breath in some way. And I know the creative art therapies in general refer there, and also certainly and looking at Louise, I mean, any of the music-derived kinds of things, you have to use breath too. Obviously, you have to be really connected to your breath, but we're going to use it in a very specific way here. So I'm going to grab this other mic so I can join you. Last time I was in this room, it was nowhere near as high-tech as it is now. I'm like really floored. And here's our drummers. Yay! Right on time. Hi. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Donde sea. Sí.
Okay, so we're going to start out. This is perfect timing. It's really perfect timing. So we'll start out really where we were, where you are. Basic tenet of dance movement therapy, every creative art therapy, every psychotherapy in the world. Oh, how many psychotherapists are there in the room? Also very good to know. Okay, good. So everybody starts where the patient is, right? Everyone starts where the client is. So you don't have to move yet. Or rather, you don't have to stand up yet. So just wherever you are right now, you don't have to shift even. Just get a sense of where you're aware of your weight. Do you feel feet, spine, back of the thighs, sits bones? Just noticing that, where you are feeling anything at all. And also, if you're not feeling anything, that is also a feeling, so you can just record that, notice that for yourself. And then begin to notice whether or not you're breathing. I mean, of course, we're all breathing, but in the sense of really noticing where you feel your breath. Or if you're aware of your breath in any particular part of your body, just feeling your breath flowing in and flowing out. And you might also notice as you began to pay attention to your breath that it changed. that you suddenly, when I said that, or when you decided to direct your attention to your breathing, that there was a shift. So this is also evidence of how the mind and body work together. It's one of the simpler ways of knowing how interconnected we are. So there's breath, there's the sense of yourself in the chair. And see if you can, as you're sitting here and breathing, welcome. If you can also notice the temperature, your own temperature, where you feel any differences in temperature. Maybe you're aware of your hands in your lap, or the feeling of the air across your skin. And it's fine if your eyes are open or closed. Either is fine. Though you might want to play around with having your eyes closed if they've been open, and open if they've been closed, because it's a very different experience. Yeah, and just letting your breathing, as you're paying attention to your breathing, you'll notice that it does begin to change even more. And then your attention to that will allow it to keep on changing, and most likely deepening. But it could also be becoming shallower. But again, it's your breath, and however you're breathing is the way you're breathing right now. And so as you're allowing yourself to become quieter and more relaxed, see if you can begin to notice for yourself if there are any places that you've been sitting that are kind of cramped up or tight, or you've been really wanting to shrug your shoulders all day, or roll your head, or wiggle your fingers, or stretch out your legs, yawn even. And just, yes, let yourself go ahead and do that. Just doing, as Elaine Summers says, letting the body move itself. However that is for you at this moment. So that you're just really beginning to join up your conscious intention with what you're feeling physically in your body. And you're beginning to let things move around a little bit. Because obviously one of the basic ideas is that we're interconnected, mind and body. And then you might just sort of check in and see how that feels, how it feels to be moving somewhat. And I'm going to ask Mara to put on the quieter music that we were going to get started with. Because one of the things that happens is that as soon as you hear music, your heart begins to beat in that rhythm. Your heart begins to match that rhythm. So, see if you can just bring your attention down to your feet now. And yeah, if your feet aren't touching the floor, come forward enough so that your feet are actually on the floor. And begin to bring yourself forward on your chair with your feet under you so that you can really begin to come all the way up into standing. Ah, yeah. And you can keep on doing whatever feels good to you right now. So I'm cheating a little bit because I have music. And music, of course, is a great prop. It's also a great accompaniment. It's something we can really join with and meet, as my friend and colleague Jack Weiner has taught for years in his creative dance classes. So just beginning to kind of move back and forth, shifting your weight wherever, and begin to sort of spread out a little bit so you have enough room. Yeah. So you're just shifting from side to side. Feeling the pulse, the beat. Nice. And continuing to just notice what needs to loosen up or move or let go. Okay. And now we're going to get ourselves over to that circle of chairs back there. So just continuing to meander about the room on your own or with friends. And if we need more chairs, I'll pull them in.
So we can continue. You hear me well? Yes? We can continue sort of noticing what parts of the rhythm we want to pick up, right? What's our conversation in our bodies today? And honoring that. So we shifted a little bit from the sort of individual kind of exploration and sensations into a little bit more of us and other, right? So I think with that, naturally, movement will shift a little bit. Perhaps to synchronize, right? Maybe with the person next to you or across from you. So So we can either honor that or honor whatever is happening inside. No right or wrong. And there is this notion, right? Well, I like to think of it as that everybody holds the movement or the heart of the movement differently. I would like to honor that too. So where is the heart of your movement today? All right. Okay. So how's everyone feeling so far? All right. So we can stop that. Great. Okay. So first of all, thank you so much, ladies. These are my sisters. They are, well, if you want to introduce yourself, just your name. And
Manuela, Jenny Mara, dance movement therapy student, prep. Sandra.
So we are together in a group called Legacy Women. So we play bomba, Afro-Puerto Rican bomba, as well as Afro-Dominican palo music, along with other Caribbean rhythms. So they're here to support us. Thank you for coming. All right. So like I expressed earlier, Meg, you're coming. Like I expressed earlier, so bomba, we're going to be experiencing some of the key elements of bomba, you know, in this brief time. I wish that we have much more time. So as I'm leading you through this experience, I really would like, and I say this again, I really would like for you to take in and make it yours, right? So that in the room there is a safe place for people to just be who they want to be in their bodies, right? And that whatever the expression, that's your expression, let it be. So I guess what I'm trying to say is just to sort of create in the room this safety net, so that in the brief time that we'll be here together, you can just enjoy and really take in without any pressure of anything, right? So the first thing that I would like to start is with singing. Okay, so in bomba, singing is a main element, along with the drum, along with the dance, right, and the audience participation. So let's start with timing. Right? So if we can together clap with me, we can do. 1, 2, 3, clap. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and very good. So these are the words to the song, right? Bolé. Bolé, biomba. Bolé, bole, biomba. Bolé, bole, biomba. All right, so another important element in bomba is that there is a singer, right, who improvises with lyrics, tell a story, right? And then there is the audience who says, I'm here, we are here. Right? So it's very important that when I do my call, the response follows as a way of supporting. Right? So we're going to try it with the count. So it goes like that. So just listen first. So you say, Bole, bole, biomba. 1, 2. Bole, bole, biomba. Bole, bole, biomba. Bole, bole, biomba, hoy bole, danza. Bole, bole, biomba, ay, bailame la bomba. Bole, bole, biomba, All right. So the energy shifted, right? And I don't know if you agree with me, but I think so. What do you guys think? Energy shifted? Some people were doing some, okay, like a part of the body kind of went loose, and others was just with their eyes or just with the, a little bit of the brighter or alertness. So that's another. So I'm just gonna kind of start identifying things as I'm seeing it, and of course you too, so that we start kind of dissecting a little bit of how this is a healing tradition. Okay, so all right, let's go into the movement. So what I want to do.
So that was call and response, right?
This is call and response. Thank you so much. So this is call and response, and like I said before, there is the singer, right, and then there's the community that responds back. So the nice thing about this is that it's equal participation, and everybody feels part of it. And you don't have to be in the middle of anything. You can just be part and reap the benefits of just kind of that collective pulse, and still kind of feel that you're part of that community, like I said. So this is call and response. So the next thing will be the basic step, and is from this rhythm called Sika. And there's many rhythms, and rhythms have their basic steps. So, can you say Sika?
Sika.
Sika, right? So we're going to start with the right leg, and what's going to happen is a shift of the weight. So we do in 1, shift, and 2, shift, and 1, 2. Yes, and nice. I'm going to try something. Can we hold hands? Anybody oppose? No? So that you feel that shift, and it helps you. Nice. And we're going to do a little bit faster. Nice. When a dancer starts dancing, so she starts with a stroll, right, or he. And the stroll usually involves the basic step of that rhythm. And this is kind of a preparation for your improvisation. And the purpose of the dance is so that you improvise movements, and the dancer or the main drummer or primo player marks you, right? So there is improvisation, right? But first we start with the basic step. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and now let's put hands in the waist. Right? 3, 4. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach you a little bit of how bomba works in terms of the piquetes or improvisations. Right? Can you say piquete? Piquete, right? The piquetes. So the piquetes are the improvisation that the dancer, the different movements that the dancer do, right, in front of the drum. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, and 1, 2, 1, 2. Ready to 1. Take it back with the basic step. We're gonna try it again. And this is a 1, 2, 3, fingers if you need to. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hey, here we go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here we go. In 1. So now we're gonna change it a little bit because in bomba there is this continuum, right, of movement that are percussive and pa, to movement that are a little bit more like what I call repique, pa, que te pa, te pa, te pa, te pa, te pa. Or it can be vibratory. But I finish the sentence. So it's a sentence, right, with beginning, middle, and end. Let's try a sentence, yes? So here we go. 1. Everybody takes a step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. And take it back. We try it again. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go fast. E. Pa, 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 pa. Good. Take it back. We're gonna try one more time with one addition. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Up. 8, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take it back. Ah. Yeah. That's it. All right. So, comments, anything, words, images. Let's do it again. Do it again. Let's try it again. So we're gonna start with the right leg again. 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Up. From in, out, up. Here we go. Pa, 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 pa. Shake your booty, 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 booty. Eso. I need time check, because I don't know, because I can be here forever. It's 9 o'clock.
So when do we eat?
This is your food. All right. So, so you see,
Family gathering, though.
it's like a family gathering, and there should be food. Sorry, new school, but yes, a little bit of, you know,
Something,
a
right?
little something. So, yes. So I would like to kind of hear briefly, I guess, from people any images, any words, anything, thoughts. Excitement, okay. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Connection.
The drumming definitely bumps it up a level.
Yeah, right? It's such a different, nice feeling.
Vibration.
Vibration, joy.
Primal.
Primal.
Power.
Power.
Did you say?
Relief.
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 Right. Heat. Heat.
Heat.
I just love the going back.
The going back, right? So yeah, so I mean, and all of these things have been, this is why people keep on doing these things. Because historically, from our ancestors who brought this to our island, from like I said before, from all of those influences, West African and in Central Africa and inter-Caribbean, like this is stayed. People wanted to keep on, to keep this in their tradition. So because of joy, because of power, because of affirmation, because of all of these healing elements. So, yes, so maybe what I wanted, yes?
One of the things that impresses me is that if we follow the rhythms and the steps together, then
Yes.
it clearly, is better? It clearly creates a sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
So the repetition of it, and I'm not surprised if people said, let's do it again, is because the repetition of it creates a sense of a collective and a sense of community.
Yes.
My experience, however, because I've been doing improvisation for so long, is I wanted to start taking off and doing things on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to address that for a moment, if you would.
You want me to address the sense of community and the need for maybe?
What happens, because if we stay with, da, and ba, and then ba, 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 and if we all do it together, and if we're really together, it creates a wonderful sense of community, because especially as you keep doing it again and again and again, right? That then at a certain point, my experience is that I wanted to suddenly begin to do other kinds of things, which are much more individual in nature, and not so much, it's within the rhythms and so on, but it's really much more personal and more subjective. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think, people hear me? I think that the wonderful thing about bomba is that it speaks to those two, the self and the community, right? So as we are a one unity, like I said before, the collective pulse, right? And we're together. Of course, I completely understand the need, because I'm one of those people who want to kind of like go on my own, but there is a space for that too in bomba, in where when the dancer comes into the drum, it's their story, right? Which of course is influenced by the community and the cultural context and region and geography, and in terms of the island, different dancing styles. But essentially is you coming in and having an expression in that drum of whatever is happening in the moment. So there is that. So what I'm trying to say is that in bomba there is the community and there is the unity and sort of that one sort of containment of energy, and then there is within that containment, which is this circle structure, very, very much traditionally in African-based dances, you can be you, and you can improvise. And actually, you made a great point to sort of transition into our next thing, because what I would like to do is actually do that. Within this music and within this sort of containment, how would you take the brief things that we have learned and make it yours? And keeping in mind that here Manuela, wonderful, and Dios mío, Sandra, she's my sister, but for a moment, and Yelimara. So we are bringing this energy, but mainly Manuela, what's going to do is, as she sees, right, people moving, just be aware that she will mark whatever you're doing. Kind of, because this is exactly what I want people to experience. Sort of that mirroring, like in therapy, how we mirror, and we constantly mirror, and that's sort of very much the basis of the creative arts and therapy in general. How do you mirror? It's sort of that attunement. So this is what she's going to be doing. Can we try it? And sort of like we can start in our places, and just with the music, we can start moving, and I can direct you through it in the space, and then Manuela would sort of pick up, and whoever want to come forward and sort of attune with her and let her mirror you, feel free to do that. And see what happens, right? We try it? Sure? Okay. So we can start, you know what? I would like to do something different. Forget about basic step. Do you, and whatever the rhythm sort of, whatever in whatever way the rhythm moves you, okay? So let's do it. take a moment to sort of cool down a little bit. Not so fast. I'm gonna bring the movement of this sister right here. Bring it up. Inhaling and exhale. Sort of scanning the body sensations, vibrations. And again, inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale up. Muy bien. What did you, so what do you think? The part that we were doing, tell me whatever your impressions were of.
Well, I would like to open it up to, Meg was talking about the difference of different cultures. And we come from a culture which is very focused on individuality and so on. So I wonder what people's reaction was to the first part, where the focus was communal, and the second part, we opened it up to people just doing whatever they wanted to do, or however they were impacted by the rhythms.
That's a great question.
I found more connection the second time, way more. Oh, I'm going to shout.
Yeah,
I found much more connection the second time. I mean, I really felt like heart-to-heart, whole body connections. And the first time I didn't. It was more focused on trying to get the right, keeping with the pace. But I found so much more with the second.
With the second.
I think it takes time to feel comfortable with the communal movement, and a lot of us were thinking about it and not really feeling it.
I like how you, the first time when we were all doing it, you structured it slowly, slowly, slowly. So even if you were shy, you weren't really comfortable, it would just, the layers kind of brought you out slowly. What we just did, it was good, but I don't know. I didn't feel as, if you were shy, you could pull back and you could, there was nothing that sort of promoted you to bring you out of your skin.
Yeah. Any other?
I felt that both were necessary. I felt that if you had just said, okay, we're all just going to do our own thing, we would not have had the same experience as if when we had the base, the kind of comfort zone of the communal movement.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I felt a lot of resistance at first. I wasn't expecting to move tonight, and so the first 10 minutes, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be standing up. It was stuff I was working with, and then once we started moving and there was a sense of community, it got me out of myself and out of that spin, and I felt connected. But I don't think that I was ready to really move as freely as we did just now without that step. And I guess one question that I do have for the dance therapists in the room, because I'm considering this as a possible career path, is when you're working individually with someone or even in a group context, the healing process is both community and individual, but it starts with the individual. So how is dance therapy and that process different from just coming together and moving? Because this was a beautiful experience, and it was therapeutic and healing for me, and I feel that, So there's tremendous value here. I'm just wondering what sort of the technical aspects of dance therapy are and how that comes into your process.
Yeah. Where's Meg? Meg, don't leave me alone in this one.
So you're right. There was a tremendous amount of skill involved in this moment. Besides the presence of many spirits, right? So one of the things that Mata did is she did balance very carefully by following what was happening with everyone in the room. And we had the heartbeat of the drum, but she was really seeing where people were comfortable, where people were together. And she was pacing that and leading the drums and also showing. So she and I had big discussions about, so how much are we going to show them? And it's like, so all this, of course, went out the window as soon as we started doing it. But it's good to plan. Right. There was that. There was also the way that she very carefully brought certain people in and was able to dance with and partner with, which in dance therapy is the whole mirroring piece, certain individuals. And then the way that within that, Mara was making her own statement at times, which encouraged other people to make their own statement. And because, we know now neurologically, as soon as we see something, it's like, the heartbeat, the music and all that, as soon as we see, we're mirroring, we're there. As soon as we imagine, we're there. So it's the particular structure, the elements, the intention that brought you all here. We didn't just go grab people out of the subway, all of these things contribute to this being dance therapy, as well as a wonderful opportunity to move and be together and share this. So I think it's one of those tricky things that you don't necessarily see the skill. If you go to a club, you might not have the same experience, because here you've really had somebody who was guiding very consciously this whole process. And also, to some extent, the fact that, we did warm you up a little bit individually in your own body with that whole somatic warm-up, so that you had that sense of being, okay, I'm here, I'm taking my notes or whatever, this is what I'm doing. So there is a way that we did design this to have that element. And though I have to say, I think I really don't know other dance therapists who work this way. So that I think is unique. But I think more and more we're going to be looking at how do we bring all these elements together? Because, yes, we do work individually, Jack, and I know that that's the kind of the baseline of psychotherapy. But on the other hand, we're always within context, and we're always within a group. So I think it's really the skillful balance of that that's so interesting.
I also would like to add a little bit of coming from, experience it in my life, bomba, right, as a cultural expression, and being a dance therapist, right, in an inpatient psychiatric unit. This happens. This sort of, what do you negotiate before you step into a place that is a group? There's so many things that you negotiate. Ego is, how ego works. So sort of like right and wrong, who's looking at me, am I seen, am I not seen, am I welcome, am I not welcome? Like all those negotiations happens in the bomba space too. So I remember when I was starting bomba, it starts with me, it starts with the self, looking at other people making a statement, and then, like Meg said, I could imagine, oh, am I attracted to it? Do I want to dance like her or like him? And so that starts my negotiation process. Can I do it? Can I, so all these questions start. So it's similar in my dance therapy groups. And patients come in and they really, I don't move. I don't want to move. I feel weird. It's vulnerable. It's too exposed, and sort of, what we do as therapists is sort of like attuning with that, be empathic to that empathic presence, mirror that, which is what I think maybe the bomba community can learn from the dance therapy group, as in the sense of like, at times you have mentors in the bomba community that sort of take you in gently and tenderly, and and it's like, you get it or you don't, or whatever, and it just, come on, or you didn't dance, whatever, it just happens. This is very normal as social people. So, so I guess that what I have to say, it starts with the self, with the negotiation, and then when you, as a therapist, you sort of attune to that and start there in sort of sense. So I was wondering, when we started the circle, you know, we were like, okay. And my plan was to sort of take that and sing and dance, and each one of you will come to the drum, but that was not the energy of the room. So I have to sort of shift, and I sense, and also what Jack sort of brought, but I want to just, so that kind of, okay, so I fed into that, and I said, okay, forget everything, be you. So, so whatever you give me informs what I'm going to do next.
I'd like to respond to what you're bringing up, if I may, because I'm extremely focused on that kind of individual experience and how to make what is essentially our response to the organization of the music, right? We're responding to the organization of the music, or we're responding to the kind of energy of the group, you know, as you mentioned, that it made you feel a lot freer. My response to you is that as you increasingly become more aware of your own musculature, which is what you're using in a very generalized way by moving and in a way acting out, to use a jargon psychotherapy term, is that you become aware of how it's happening through your body, which comes close to what Meg was doing in terms of somatic process, you know, of listening and sensing yourself. But very specifically, to sense the musculature. We do not move without muscles. It's the only way it can happen. There is no, any other kind of movement is in our head. And our interpretations of movement is in our head. So our judgments about movement comes from our head. But experiencing the motion that comes from the floor, literally through your muscles, is what creates a certain kind of affect of self-experience. That takes time, because we don't have to think about muscles. They just work. We just grow up. You know, we creep and crawl and sit, and, you know, it just happens. So it does, you do have to develop a consciousness, and it does take time, unfortunately, like all consciousness does.
Thank you, Jack. I would like to also invite this. We have Alex Lasaya. This is a master drummer, musician, teacher, educator, and you know, a very important person in our community here in New York and in Puerto Rico. So thank you for being here, Alex Lasaya. So, and these, you know, people here that came to support, thank you so much. If you have any thoughts or anything that, because we use this, they use this as a healing tool for our community. So this is another, if you have any comments or anything that you want to say.
One thing I think it's such a beautiful thing to experience bomba in any community, and it doesn't look the same anywhere. Like, rarely does everyone do the same move at the same time, unless it's the basic step. So what Mara was giving you was instruction, but that doesn't happen in the expression. That happens in a class. In the expression, depending on the locale, we could be doing a number of things: chatting, playing dominoes, talking about the neighbor, flirting, taking care of the kids, making food, eating, drinking, or literally all be attuned, because the drum and the energy of everyone in the room will call for a response. And one of the things that's really special about the musical aspect of it is the reason people gain the title of master, teacher, or educator, or bombero, is because they know how to draw that type of response from anybody. And it sounds crazy, because you do need to learn how to do it masterfully, but at the same time, the most important element is the organic, sentimental, subjective expression of the individual. And I've seen people go there to a place that generally would seem very vulnerable instantly if they hit the right bomba on the right day, on the right corner. Like, it really is that kind of thing. So I wish you guys could have seen maybe these ladies expressing when they dance, because what you see is that whatever is going on for them, you're going to see it in the dance. And something about us as humans, we're going to want to engage and have all kinds of reactions to it, but you can feel it. And sometimes people do come out, and there are dances for mourning, there are dances for anger, there are songs that elicit that type of response. Oh, he cheated on me. Oh, this is a song about you cheated on me. I'm gonna dance that, and I want him to see. Like that, it has that power, and your movement will say it all. So it's powerful to see these women dance, and all of you, like you can say a lot in this moment, and that's so special. So anyway. If they like, that's my.
Do we have time?
I don't know.
What time do we?
You have 5 minutes?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Oh, I sort of.
You'd rather be. I'm sorry if I
No,
totally.
it's fine. I'm always going to say yes to that, but I just want to check in with the group because we wanted to do sort of like a closing ritual. So
What about
maybe.
both? What about if we go over 5
Yeah.
minutes?
Now we're talking.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you so much for bringing in that piece. And the dance therapy piece is to make that moment when it hits consistent. So that would be the therapy part, is training so that can happen when we want it to happen, as opposed to, things kind of lined up. And that, I think, is really where, that's actually my interest in doing this, is how do we use this as a therapy? And I have a real stake in this, because I have friends and colleagues I want to heal this way. So, that really is it. How can we make it happen every time? Not just when we have this perfect environment like this. This is a pretty perfect environment. So, Mata, I'm thinking maybe if you want to start out, if you would start dancing and then bring us in and we'll finish that way. Is that good?
Okay.
Yeah.
So sort of, can we stand and sort of ya, cántate tú ahí algo. So, sí, música. Sí. No. Sorry, we're wasting time. All right. Anything you feel. What do you take? Thank you, James. Thank you. I was wondering if we can get a little bit closer within the same structure, but sort of a little bit tiny more intimate. Without forgetting. So we're gonna take this moment. We're gonna take this moment to just reflect on everything that has been said, felt, embodied, thought of. And the effect that we had on each other tonight, and the things that you take with you. That hopefully contribute to healing in the future. We're going to take a deep breath in. And again, inhale. So I would like to go around sort of as a closing sort of ritual. If you can say one word, anything that sort of speak about your experience here. And we can do random.
Love.
Love.
Joy.
Strong.
Connection.
Resources. Rejuvenate. Alive.
Embrace.
Solid.
Grounded.
Power.
Vibration.
What's that?
Vibration. Rhythm.
Hope. Trust. Union.
It's hard to say goodbye.
But we will. So, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say? So before we go, if you want to learn more about Bomba, well, there's a few places, and please remind me of anything else. But there is, you can go to Legacy Circle website, which is sort of like a big family of you know, performance musicians, just you know, people who love tradition and love to bring these traditions to their communities, or want to participate or enjoy or heal. So so there is, the website is www.thelegacycircle.org. Yeah, so there's stuff out there. There's many groups that play, New York, uptown, downtown. So.
And for the creative
What
arts.
about you? How do we get in touch with you?
Yes, I have cards. You bring yours?
I do, but
Meg's not always available here
So,
on
Louise.
the East Coast. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm really, totally moved. I hope you'll all come back next week for a music therapy experiential. And actually, it's an integrative, so we'll be doing music, art, dance, and drama. So I hope to see you again next week with more fun, and more training. So thank everybody for coming and for grooving and for sharing your healing energies. I want to do that. I want to.
You drum, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, thank you. Oh, sure.
Thank you very much. And tell me the name of the website again.